Hey everybody, this is Dr. Smith from Chanel T. Smith Consulting, and I figured today I would talk about my PhD story. Many of you who follow me or are mentees of mine have usually come up to me during some academic conferences and have said, you're the one who finished your PhD really fast, right? And then my immediate response is, yeah, that's me, but don't romanticize it. So let me just tell you what happened for me. So when I was about to start my doctoral studies, hi Angie, when I was about to start my doctoral studies, my grandmother got really ill. She had ALS, so I deferred my studies for a year. She wound up transitioning. I still miss her so much. And then, so a couple of months before I was about to start my program, I had a baby. So when I started my PhD program, my first son was 6 months old. So some people ask me, how do you do it with a kid? And I'm like, well, I don't know how not to do it with a kid, because when I started my program, I also had a 6 month old. So I literally learned how to nurse and type at the same time with one hand. So there's that. So I'm in my program, and 6 weeks in, my sister got gravely ill, to the point where we had to determine whether or not we would sign a DNR and all of that. Thank God she's much better now. But at the time, it was too much. Hi, Andrew. It was too much to deal with. I was still mourning my grandmother. My sister was ill. I was a new mom. He was 6 months old. And also trying to be a loving wife to my husband. And also I had another member of my immediate family dealing with a chronic illness with no cure. Right. So this is my first couple of weeks of my doctoral program. I got very depressed, extremely depressed, to the point where I told my mother, I'm quitting. This is not for me. On the grand scheme of thing or grand scale, the PhD is a non-factor. And throughout a couple of conversations, she said, well, you know what? There's nothing you can do. There is absolutely nothing you can do about any of these situations but pray and be there. So I wound up continuing in the program, but I had to make it work for me. And I say that doctoral study saved me because it became a very, very much needed distraction. I almost typed this, my story, because it gets kind of difficult to tell, but I figured, how real is this? Can't get no more real than a live video, right? So I was extremely depressed, started therapy and all of that. And then I had to just dive right in. PhD studies, I realized the books don't change. There is nothing traumatic about it except maybe an argument I didn't like, but there was nothing unexpected, like another trip to the hospital or finding out that there's no cure to a specific illness. It was consistent. And so I had to learn how to do my PhD in the midst of it all. And it saved me because I was able to forget life that was happening to me every day after 5 o'clock, every day before 8 a.m. Those are the times I dropped off and picked up my son from daycare. I didn't have weekends. I didn't have evenings, like I said, so I would always compare myself with my colleagues who were able to be at the library at 6 and 7 o'clock working. But then I realized, they're not living the life that I lived. So I literally had to approach my PhD studies as a 9 to 5. And yes, there were some some advisors or professors who did not like my approach. But like I said, they did not have to live my life. So that became it. I had to rewrite the rules. I had to figure out my strategies. I had to learn from my mistakes and from the mistakes of others when they shared those with me. I benefited from excellent mentoring, and I did what I had to do. Sometimes I had to DO what was DUE, right? But I still got a great education. I was still able to earn my PhD. A lot of people on campus, I went to Drew Theological School, go Druids and all of that. And there were some people who were ahead of me in the program, and I would be in coursework, and we're walking and we're passing on campus, and they're like, so did you defend yet? And I'm like, oh, you got mad jokes, right? But again, they did not know my story. And so I did it. I wound up finishing my PhD, or earning my PhD, in an overall time of 3 years and 9 months. Yeah, 3 years and 9 months. When I graduated, my second son was 8 months old. So although on my CV you'll see 2012 to 2000, not 2000, no, I finished at 2012. 2007 to 2012, it only took me less than 4 years to do it because, hey, you need time to heal from a C-section or two, right? So I say all of this to say that this is why I do what I do. This is why I started coaching and mentoring. I mean, I've been mentoring doctoral students for over 10 years. So I finally decided to do it because I know what it's like to have a lot going on when you can't stop living life or taking care of people to do your doctoral studies. I know what it's like to have to deal with a sick child unexpectedly, or aging parents and all of that. So I have decided, and it is my calling, it's my passion, to start Chanel T. Smith Consulting, right, where I help doctoral students fast track their degrees without having to put their lives on hold, because I couldn't. And so I realized, you know what, I have something here. I can help other people. Most often it's people of color who have stories like mine, at least from what I've heard. Not saying that no one else can. But from the stories of people that I have talked to, they think that they can't do it. And everyone's story is different, but you can. You may have to rewrite the rules for yourself. You may have to do your project differently. Like, for example, my teachers or professors told me that I needed to take the course to teach that teaches French and German. I didn't have the money nor the time to do that. So I taught myself in the summertime, 9 to 5 in the library, and I wound up passing each one on the first try. But I had to go against the grain because when I left that campus, I knew what was waiting for me. I knew what I had to do, and it was not schoolwork. So it is possible. You can do it. I'm like shaking, having flashbacks. Hi, Ronald. Hi, Kavan. Hi, Juanita. You can do it. You can do your doctoral studies without stopping your life. Because some of us, if you're like me, you don't have a choice. But it can be done. And that is what I do at Chanel T. Smith Consulting. I help doctoral students fast track their degrees without having to put their lives on hold, because that's the only way I know how to do it. That's it. Well, if you need to reach me, my contact information is in my bio, and stay encouraged. As I always say, let your inner child out to play today. And I think that's my message, because I know how serious life can get. I know how serious life is, and we need to laugh. We need to color. We need to draw outside the line, color outside the lines. We need to go out and play hopscotch with some chalk on the sidewalk. You can do it. Don't give up your doctoral studies. Don't think you can't do it. There's help out there. I'm out here. That's my story. Thanks for listening. Have a good one.